so cruel. Now you're older, still a youngin', but you're playing it cool.
We've had a lot of Canadians fly in space. We're going to have a Canadian command the International Space Station, which it's still hard for me to believe I'm going to do that, in amongst all of the rest of space utilization with our coast-to-coast television and RadarSat and RadarSat-2 and all the other things we do. So I think it's important to look back and really get a picture of how it all was in the past, understand what Canada is doing right now and what some of the opportunities it's giving us in the future for really taking advantage of the latest technology.
Well, with your job and how well you've done it, you've earned a good deal of fame. You've got a school and an airport named after you. You've been featured on Canadian Coins. You're leading this international team and were the first Canadian to walk in space. You've served over 20 days in space, and pardon the pun, but how do you keep yourself grounded?
I see all those things, but they sort of seem third person, a lot of them to me. I focus on what I'm doing, what I think is important. I have a lot of what I feel is a very simple, straightforward responsibility in getting ready for this next space flight. The technical importance, the responsibility of taking care of the other people on board, those are a full-time job. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about other people's impressions of whether this is beyond regular life or not. And I'm kind of surprised. I'm just in the midst of the life that I've decided to work on and trying to do my best that I can at it, trying to have as much fun every day as I can. Whenever I can, I try and play in the band, play in a couple bands. I talk to my kids every day all around the world on Skype. They keep me centered, of course. They treat me just like kids treat their dad everywhere. I've been married to the same great lady for the last almost 30 years, and she has no trouble at all keeping me centered on what's important and what isn't. So almost nobody is a hero in their own backyard. Everyone's just being themselves. I think it's a huge compliment when someone else is taking what you're doing as an example and maybe something worth doing. That's just another form of compliment to me. It's like when a stranger tells me they're proud of me. I find that it's like someone just complimenting me. I really, it warms my heart, but it doesn't change what I do day to day. I'm just trying to do what I think is important as well as I can, and try to get involved in as many things as I can so that life is as rich and interesting for me and my family as I can possibly make.
Well, before we let you go, if one of our fans were to fill in your well-accomplished boots or to at least become an astronaut, what would they have to do? Like, what advice would you give?
Number one, for everybody, I would advise you to choose what you want to do in life. Don't just let life randomly choose what you're going to do. Have a look at all the things that might be out there and choose a direction that interests you, or choose a few directions. And then you'll get choices pretty much every day. What are you going to watch on TV? What book are you going to read? What might you do with your spare time? And start to shape yourself in the directions that are interesting to you. So that's number one. And if you're going to do something like be an astronaut, then you'll need an advanced technical education. So you need to go to university. So start directing your life in an area that's interesting. And it doesn't have to be a test pilot like I became. Julie Payette was an electrical engineer. Dave Williams is a medical doctor. Steve McLean is a physicist. Any technical field that is of interest can lead you to flying on a spaceship. You need to keep your body in shape. And I'm not any sort of fitness fanatic, but I realize that I get one body, and I try not to eat too much bad stuff. I try and exercise just enough that I'm a little bit stronger at the end of the day than when I woke up in the morning. You don't have to go crazy, but watch what you eat, exercise a little bit. And then the third part is don't be boring. Don't just study and exercise. Do other interesting things. Study things that are fun. Travel. Get involved with things that challenge you. Learn to speak another language. Learn to play a musical instrument. Try and go out and meet other people that know things that you don't know. And that combination of pursuing and making yourself competent in an area that's fun and interesting for you, keeping your body healthy so you live a long, healthy life, and getting to know as many different parts of life as you can, then it doesn't really matter what field you work in. You have a pretty good shot of setting yourself up for an interesting life, a life that is rewarding to you, and maybe even a life that you can judge that was worthwhile and accomplished something. It's what I've sort of used as my guidelines, and it's working for me, and I really enjoy the life and the family that it has built as a result.
Well, thank you, Chris. On behalf of Spartan Youth Radio and our fans from across the globe, I'd like to thank you for your time, and hopefully we can chat with you while you're circling above us. You've been listening to my chat with Canadian Space Agency astronaut Chris Hadfield, and this is Spartan Youth Radio, Canada's only high school podcast radio station. We'd love to know what you think about this or any of our other stories. Visit us at SpartanYouthRadio.com, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, friend us on Facebook, or check out our Twitter feed. This is Emma Piche at Spartan Youth Radio. We're all kinds of different.